recording. All right.
I get the damnedest picture.
Oh, they have standards. And the capacity. All right. Well, let's get underway. We have recording on. And Queen Mother, can you bring us to order?
I am here, Chairman.
Floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone. We have awakened to a blessed day. May we our minds as we bow our heads. Father God, you have allowed us to meet again, to share information, to learn thy will. Keep us under the shadows of thy wings. Grant us mercy and grace. As we begin anew, we come with an open mind and submit to your will as we open up this session. For now, Lord, we pray that you keep us in peace and harmony as we journey through this time of sharing and learning. Give us wisdom, knowledge, and peace where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, give us faith. Where there is despair, give us hope. Where there is darkness, give us light. Where therein we shall rejoice and sing peace and joy. Unto thy name we do pray. Amen.
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 I cannot hear anything.
Thank you, Queen Mother. Ken Granderson, what is our Black Facts for today?
Okay. All righty, let's go and share. And
Okay.
what is going on with my connection? Let's hopefully everything will be good. Here we go.
BlackFacts.com presents the Black Fact of the Day for October 14th. Martin Luther King, Jr., is awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. King adhered to Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolence. In 1955 he began his struggle to persuade the U.S. government to declare the policy of racial discrimination in the southern states unlawful. In 1957 he was elected president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, an organization formed to provide new leadership for the now burgeoning civil rights movement. In 1963, 250,000 demonstrators marched to the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, where King gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. The following year, President Johnson got a law passed prohibiting all racial discrimination. King accepted the award on December 10, 1964 in Oslo, Norway on behalf of the civil rights movement and pledged the prize money to the movement's continued development. At the age of 35, King became the youngest man, and only the second African American, to receive the prestigious award.
I accept the Nobel Prize for Peace at a moment when 22 million Negroes of the United States are engaged in a creative battle to end the long night of racial injustice.
There we go. Please visit Black Facts every day, and remember, 2 days from now is the 30th
Learn Black
of the Million Man March. Make sure you stop in on Thursday.
Yep. So some people celebrate that, which is a great day, and then unity, and but now in the 21st century, what we're doing is bringing together people around the permanent forum on people of African descent. All 1.6 billion people of African descent have now around the world one organization. This meeting is sponsored by the World Conference of Mayors, Friends of the African Union, and together what we're doing is we're implementing a program of action that creates a new digital currency for America first, then the Americas, Africa, Asia, Arabia, and then the EU. It's sponsored by work done in the World Conference of Mayors and led by the Prosperous Coalition, and will be distributed through the United States Compact for a #Just Economy campaign. In it, we apply an equity lens in developing and advancing policies that aim to root out entrenched systematic inequities relative to the United Nations.
I didn't put a pepper in there. A little bit more.
You want
All
more?
right.
Do you want to do the way I could? Do you want to directly from the top?
If you're not speaking, which I am, please mute. I've muted. Okay. The aim of this is to root out entrenched systematic inequities relative to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, so as to ensure that American citizens have an opportunity to thrive in a global #just economy. And we do this work based on the 55 million Americans of the global African community, driving a program that will be capitalized through 1,000 structured revenue anticipation notes powered by smart contracts that are compliant with not only American law, but agreed upon international standards, including ISO 20022 and a superset of ISO 2600-2010. The community would be organized around the Tuskegee Declaration of 2025 and would embed in it operations from Friends of the African Union Institute's 7 Pillars of Social Justice, the Mending Goals, Healing Actions, and the World Conference of Mayors 7Ts. We understand, as an American-based organization, our history from 1776, which includes today the 1977 creation of the Community Reinvestment Act. Whereas by law, beforehand, before 1965, we had lived in 100 years of apartheidship by 21st century standards, from 1865 to 1965. In our first go around in civil rights in the United States, that would be for all people, including the newly freed slaves who became American citizens in 1868. Yet they were given a second-class citizenship. And the indigenous people whose country, whose lands were taken, didn't receive until the 20th century the same citizenship rights that African Americans received. And all of us, till 1965, did not have the federal government on our side. So for 60 years, in the second civil rights period from 1965 to 2025, the United States addressed the issues of its history, starting as a colony for European European colonists, whether they be Spanish, whether they be Portuguese, whether they be French, or ultimately British. And out of that, decades leading up to the breakage of the bonds of colonialism in 1776 with the Declaration of Independence, came a new nation in 1787 that started operations in March of 1789. That we are 1 year away from celebrating 250 years. And so we've agreed on the basis of the Tuskegee Declaration of how we work together. And I'd like to give over to Frank Jackson, who is the head of the international section of the World Conference of Mayors and a board member of the World Conference of Mayors, to speak to the Tuskegee Declaration. Frank, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairman Daniels, and good morning to everyone. Let me go over the Tuskegee Declaration of a Call for Global Unity and Ubuntu. In the spirit of Ubuntu, which teaches us that I am because we are, we, the undersigned, come together to reaffirm our commitment to worldwide collaboration, solidarity, and fraternity. We recognize that our shared humanity binds us together, and it is through our collective efforts that we can achieve a better world for all. We declare that number one, global collaboration. We commit to collaborating across borders, cultures, disciplines to address the pressing challenges of our time. By sharing knowledge, resources, and expertise, we can create, innovate solutions that benefit everyone. Number two, solidarity. We stand united in our commitment to support one another, particularly those who are most vulnerable. We will strive to build inclusive communities where everyone can thrive. Number three, fraternity. We embrace the spirit of brotherhood and sisterhood, recognizing that our strength lies in our diversity. We will foster mutual respect, understanding, and compassion in all of our interactions. Number four, Ubuntu philosophy. We will embody the principles of Ubuntu in our daily lives, recognizing that our well being is interconnected with that of others. We will act with kindness, generosity, and empathy, knowing that our actions have a ripple effect on the world around us. Together, we can create a future where everyone can live with dignity, peace, and prosperity. Let us move forward with a shared vision of world united by our common humanity and guided by the principles of Ubuntu. Signed by the Honorable Omar Barr, President of Senegalese Mayors Association, and the Honorable Johnny Ford, founder and CEO of the World Conference of Mayors Incorporated. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. In the chat is a JPEG for everyone that they can download. They can add it to their WhatsApp. They can add it to their Facebook. And there's a link right now in the chat where you can go, and it costs you nothing to sign in. And so we're hitting it hard that we're going to get 100 signatures by the end of the week, and by the end of the month that we will have over 1,000 signatures. Okay, and hopefully it will then, when we talk about people who are celebrating the 21st century, that meets the requirements of the permanent form on people of African descent. Now, I want y'all to understand the link when you go there and talking about the permanent form on people of African descent. We're upcoming to the 5th meeting of the permanent form on people of African descent in April. I think it's going to be 2026. But in the in between, we here in the United States have a unique opportunity to push for the second U.S. Africa Leaders Summit. And we've picked December 26th through December 31st as a time that we could have such a summit. And that such a summit being driven, okay, by the work that we put forth, okay, and that work that we put forth talked about in the second session of the in 2023, based on the submission that we did at the first session in December of 2022. Okay, and so now at the fourth session, we defined it in the creation of 1,000 partnerships. Okay, and each of those partnerships would create a structured revenue anticipation note, which would be based on insurable financial assets of not less than $1 billion. And if you take 1,000 of those and take it for 75 years, it creates a $75 trillion financial instrument. Now, we're doing this under American law, the Genius Act, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. And as of today, as I said, today is the Community Reinvestment Act's birthday. That in 1977, that the law signed into law by Jimmy Carter addressed one of America's great injustices, redlining, which meant that the financial institutions bypassed legally people of African descent and our peers, thereby not creating intergenerational wealth. Okay. And so it stopped traditional 19th century, 20th century practice. But we are now in the 21st century, and banks are no longer the dominant consumer lending or personal wealth holding institutions. And so we think that the best that we will be able to do is to create a people-driven, private sector initiated, public sector philanthropic partnership that, as a win-win situation, it wins within the current policy of the United States, but it also wins within the ongoing policy of the United States Federal Reserve in their contracts with the United States. And we're able to do that when people ask, well, where have you done it? We can point out that we helped prepare the PNC $88 billion agreement, as well as, for a lesser degree, the Fifth Third agreement, but that there are a total now of over $609 billion worth of Federal Reserve bank-based community benefit agreements. And with those banks and additional banks that have created financial instruments of the like type, that we think that we can create a nation's first P5, starting at the model in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'll stop there and take questions. We're going to feature the country today of Malawi, and I'm going to show you how this works in a country. But let me take any questions that people may have from the paperwork that they received, and any questions that they may have on what we are doing. Open questions, folks. Okay.
I have
If
a
we have
question.
no,
I have a question, Chairman Daniels. You want 1,000 signatures. So what platform are you putting? Is this reaching 1,000 people, or are you asking everybody on the line to get 1,000 people to sign? Thank you.
we're putting it in the chat, and I'm hoping that you will. The link is in the chat. Okay, Ted, even put a shorter link that's in the chat right now. Okay, and get that to send that to everybody and tell them to sign in, and that it's no cost. Yes, change.org will say, hey, can you help a organization out, but you don't have to pay anything, okay, to do it. So we're hoping that you will all send that to the people in your mailing list to get them to sign in.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, Chairman, I have a question.
Yes.
Today, I saw online a message about dollar 2.0, dollar 2.0. And they talk about some changes that will happen even at the Federal Reserve level effective October 16th, which is 2 days from now. I think it's important that we become aware of what's happening, and I trust that your preparation and agreements are not impacted by this new information. So that's really what I want to say about that.
Yeah. So just for everybody's information, there is a system of global financial governance that is affecting the US dollar, where the US dollar is now only 57% of the world currency reserves. All right. And so the push is to create a new system. And so that's called ISO 20022. You heard me say 20022. Okay. So what they're going to do on October 16th is there's going to be a webinar for you all to tune into that will tell you about the Fedline Advantage. Okay. And the whole idea on this is this system the United States has now caught up to the world. Okay. And so the whole transfer of electronic funds, the United States on October 16th will go down to you, the public. We've been in this for several years. Okay, our submission for the USD AD, the United States dollar to African dollar, has been submitted to the African Union based on our work since 2012, based on the leadership of the Assembly, giving us 5 duties to do, and it's in my book. And that we, in 2022 in Ireland, when they had the second U.S., when they had the second Global African Summit, that we said what we had done. And now in 2025, the U.S. law is compliant with what we were before had to get Securities and Exchange Commission permission to do is now statutory law through it. Okay. So again, if you're interested, I will send you the link so you can sign up on the 16th for the Fedware Fund Service public announcement.
Yes, I would love to have that link.
Yeah. Okay. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
Additional questions? All right, folks, I'm not trying to hold you longer
Chairman,
than.
I had a
Yes.
quick question.
Yes.
Sorry about that. One, greetings all honorables, greetings all queen mothers. How are y'all doing?
This is from a woman who is tap dancing quickly.
Oh, and you know it. So with that said, I always want to mention when we mention Tuskegee's declaration that Ubuntu is so important because I think is one of those chief keys with the World Conference of Mayors and Ubuntu value that meets leadership with youth and the combination of the elders giving them the guidance to use their youth in full capacity when they become into leadership positions. And so the World Conference of Mayors does that in leadership and conferences when it comes to positions of leadership in that space. But also the Ubuntu value says, hey, remember, bring the elders with you and be guided through such a area of leadership for everyone. And so I think that's so important. And that's one of the values in the World Conference of Mayors Save Our Children committee that we push forward. And it also promotes that in the Red Card campaign, which the World Conference of Mayors International Committee and the World Conference of Mayors Save Our Children Committee work together on, where it speaks to the leadership of women, right? The importance of that, and the redefinition of what men's roles are in preventing all forms of discrimination against women and children with the Red Card petition. So I want to just put that in there too. I want to ask you if you can repeat the October 16th engagement, because I do have something I needed to send to Verda also, and I didn't want it to conflict. Could you repeat what's going on that day?
So October 16th is the Fedwire Fund Service ISO 20022 post-migration drop-in session. Okay. And so what they're going to tell you about is the system that the American banks are now part of worldwide as a standard. Okay. And so they're going to give they're going to give you answers and to your questions and et cetera.
I would definitely be interested in that, and I'll still send the link that we want to send to Verda concerning UN engagement concerning oh my goodness, forgive me, like Chairman Daniel says, I'm running right now, but I'll get it to her and I'll share with you, Chairman Daniels, on what it is exactly. So forgive me, I can't come up with that. And the that system is so important to know. They've had that plan to go into that for over 5 years. So it's important to know how to use your money in that capacity so you could contract further and stronger for that BIPOCA alliance. So thank you. And that's all for me. I have to run, Chairman.
Yep, I know what you're doing. Okay. So I'm going to put in the chat, okay, the FAQ, okay, on what this is, okay. And so that Federal Reserve, it says the Federal Reserve is committed to providing answers and information you need, okay. And so what we did is we set this up through the PNC agreement. Okay, all right. So that's where specifically, we set it up because that was the one in which I was a writer of it. Okay, and so that's the one I used. But I'll take any other questions here. But let me get this for you and drop that in the chat.
Okay, I have another announcement that I have finished working with Benson at the Kenya, and he has a complete proposal now for the community activation that we have been working on. So it's Kenya, and it's global project proposal for national community ambassadors in Kenya. So they are ready to roll, except that they need the input of Tuskegee on the Tuskegee side of the plan. So that's ready to roll. He has emailed, I believe he sent you a copy, Chairman, and any interested bodies can just request a copy of the same. Okay, because it will affect it, it can give other ideas to other countries that are seeking reinvestment and development in rural areas on the continent. So with that, I yield.
All right. So yes, and I will go over that. Okay, and in terms of going over it, I will make sure to give it a review. But like I said, I've been tied up right now. Okay, and I was glad that you had taken that on. Okay. So here's the reality is that I'm raising $2 million. Okay, a minimum of $2 million. And that $2 million in terms of the use of proceeds will fund our medical initiative. Okay, and our medical initiative is in line that will provide us with a America First, okay, global health strategy. It will allow us on that September 18th release, okay, that uses global health diplomacy and foreign assistance to make America stronger, okay, healthier. And so this is a idea that is said that innovative drugs and medical devices that are developed more here in the United States. Well, folks, the key in that development and that research is driven in a disproportionate manner by foreigners in America. See, we've had this global infrastructure where people come to the United States, get their advanced degrees, stay in the United States, work for companies here, make their money in the 20th century. Well, now in the 21st century, they're going back home. As a matter of fact, under the Trump administration, they're not even now coming here, but staying home because they have the infrastructure in their countries, whether it be India, whether it be China, okay. But all the countries, we're in the midst of a realignment, and the problem is that in the United States, our historically black colleges and universities are not part of that realignment. And so one of the things that we did in the realignment of the USDA is that we made sure that we put in for historically black colleges and universities to be among the change, and you'll see it in a couple of days. Next week there'll be actually a document that will be given to everybody so that they can follow it. And so and country-wise, one of the things I did say that we would do today was Malawi. Okay. And so in Malawi, the government expected tax revenue is about 2.4, 2.5 billion USD. And so what we're going to be able to do is to talk about a revenue anticipation note for them. Okay. And so, and what that revenue anticipation note would be able to generate, I did a first draft of that revenue anticipation note. If they sign in on our proposal, remember it's 75 years, $1 billion a year. Okay, 1,000 of those. Okay, countries like the DRC can take 5 points or maybe even 10 points. Nigeria, maybe 10 to, well, they say 7.5 to 10. Okay, Malawi could take 2 points or $2 billion a year from the Malawi national government. Tax revenue is projected to be about $2.58 billion American, okay, in the coming year. And that the insurance coverage of that at 80% would mean that they would be able to pledge $2 billion a year, okay, for a 75-year period. And at the end of the day, okay, that means that they could generate something like $15 billion in capital basis for the country that currently has people, it's 19 million people. Okay, so you're talking about somewhere about $850 per person that can be generated under this program. Okay, and the key is in this program is that the country would also do a foreign direct investment back to the United States. Okay, and so look forward to having that discussion with all of y'all of how that works. Any additional questions?
Well, it's not really like a question, Chairman Daniels. It's more of a comment. You mentioned $2 million at the beginning of this paragraph.
Yes.
So I just want to let you know, you probably know more than I do. So explain it to me. You know, we have gold mines here in Virginia, in my neighborhood. Now, the issue, they're not active, right? And all of that. But usually when we think of gold mines, we think of Africa. And I just wanted to know your take on that.
Yeah, we actually in 2023 is when we started down that line with gold and precious minerals. Okay, and you know, it's been a 3-year learning process. Okay, and so yeah, we're up on the process. We're tied in with people who actually Americans who actually have African gold mines. Okay, all right, and so we are those people. We're in the midst of formalizing those relationships right now. Africa has assets of a worth maybe about $300 trillion in the ground right now. And what we decided to do was to concentrate on the technology that monetizes that assets, and for those people who have the expertise, okay, for the items in the ground, to let them do what they do while we take our expertise for what we do, which is the C7 ISR and electronics and radar and satellites and et cetera. So, I stayed in my lane, and we partnered with others who lane are the gold and the diamonds and the precious minerals.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
But it took Dr. Crossland to get to this stage.
Yeah, I found out about it just looking at like how water here got contaminated, and that's one of the ways that it did is through the gold mines. And I was like, well, since they're going to be putting in data, but I don't want to approach them by myself because who knows what's been going on that I haven't been privy to, and I'm a Black woman on top of all that. And as you know, right now, Black women are not being treated fairly. So it's a pretty dangerous spot for me to be in, to actually ask questions and actually finding out different things. And the Black woman needs to stay in her place kind of position. It's real tough, and I just wish it would be a lot easier world and safer world for the Black woman. But right now, we as Black women have a call to action, and it's pretty scary to try to do anything nowadays because this has been going on a long time. I mean, I even had to speak to Mr. Timothy Cox last night because of a mortgage situation, all too well, that happened at the bank. Not even online, as they try to say in the media, identity theft and things like that. It is well orchestrated. It's not the cartel, and it's mean people that know what they're doing at a very high level, committing these crimes.
So, Dr. Crossland,
Yes, sir.
who has a PhD in health, let people know this. What she's talking about is that in the 8 months of the Trump administration, over 300,000 Black women have exited the U.S. labor force, who were principally employed by the federal government or federal government contractors in a disproportionate manner to their numbers, because the federal government had done an outreach for Black PhD women could find their way through the federal government GS system easier than breaking into the private sector. And so there was a disproportionate amount of Black women who were in the federal government who were able to advance, and that advancement has been halted by the new administration because it's when they do these mass firings, folks, okay, that it disproportionately hit Black women. And so now our solution coming out of that is based on CSW 70, Commission on the Status of Women, in 2026 under the theme, Ensuring and Strengthening Access to Justice for All Women and Girls. Okay, so that's the theme for 2026. The review is women's full and effective participation in decision making in public life. All right. Now, what we're proposing for FAU women is to lead in the United States Compact for a hashtag just economy, okay, campaign. There's a section for women. All right. That's part of the global use of proceeds. And so for those use of proceeds, okay, that comes off of what we submitted to the 35th session of the United Nations, okay, Human Rights Council Working Group of Experts on People of African Descent. So what we did is that we submitted to that a use of proceeds that said, look, we're going to, okay, we're going to release, when they call for papers, we said, great, you call for, okay, all right, these papers, and we're going to release it. All right, and we did. So Friends of the African Union proposal to the United Nations group of experts on people of African descent that originally was called for the papers on October 7th, 2024. When we submitted our papers, because our papers included in the solution the funding for a two-state solution, what we found on that day when we submitted it is that they changed the whole schedule, and that they changed the date from November, okay, that they changed the date to December, okay, December 2nd. And we were good with that because we resubmitted it just for people of African descent. But understand our original submission said if under that there should be a women-specific driving funding of $2.5 trillion. And in that, our women in FAU, we're looking to you to designate it because it's part of the Black folks plan that when we said for the usage of funds for a trust fund in America, healthcare, housing, workforce, education, reentry, okay, all these, including transportation, environmental, infrastructure, energy and smart power and global trade, that there would be for the women a chance to put the agenda together as a new agenda. Give me straight to understand this, that for women in 1995, there was created an agenda out of Beijing for women. And what we're saying is that was 1995 in Beijing, okay, all right. But now from the USA, all right, that instead of the Fourth World Conference on Women, which was held then, so now we said, let us hold a conference here. And lo and behold, the First Lady of the United States is looking to release on 1 January a program of action. And we're trying to get them to understand that they need to release this program of action to respond to China, which has said in terms of addressing areas of women in poverty, education and training of women, women's health, violence against women, women in armed conflict, women in the economy, women in power and decision making, international mechanisms and women, the human rights of women, women in the media, and the girl child, okay, that we can answer that here in America, okay, and that our women here driven by FAU women and BIPOC women, that we can address that and answer to that as part of a policy. And I thought I would have all this as a PowerPoint for all of y'all today, but like I said, the focus was over this past week was to get ready to raise for that 2 million in the DRC people and our people in Israel, the people of African descent in Israel had a lot of pull on me over this past week to me getting them to understand their objectives has to be scaled to the reality that the president has on the table. And I'm hoping in the next 24 hours that we can finalize that, because the reality that I was telling them that was going to happen has happened. Okay. And so hopefully that they're ready to implement under the Joseph package what's reality. Otherwise, that work will just lie fallow, okay, because we're not going to be doing stupid stuff.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would like for Dr. Crossland to know that this problem is not something new, because in 1976, Judge Hayden told me when I walked into his office as the chairman of the Judiciary Committee that I walked into his office with 3 strikes against me. And that was because I had been appointed the first Black woman to serve on the jury commission in the state of Alabama by George Wallace. But saying that, he said I walked into his office with 3 strikes against me. One of the facts was that I was Black. The next fact was that I was a woman. And the next fact was that I was educated enough to know how to handle myself. So we have met that challenge down through the years and been consistent in rising as Black women. We have not let the obstacles determine our course. We have stayed true to the course of aiding and assisting one another and trying to achieve our goals. They are hard. I was denied a PPP loan just by my bank saying I was not an American citizen when I was born in America. Spoke on the Judiciary Committee in Washington, D.C. And I'm not an American. So I was denied. So this is not something new that we are dealing with. This is something that we have been dealing with down through the years. Thank you.
And the question that we have now is, can we cut a deal with this administration? Okay, can, under statutory law, we cut a deal? The advantage that we have is that we know what our partners in Africa are doing that apparently others do not, and cannot see how it ties in with their needs organizationally. Okay, and for us, it ties in perfectly in the understanding of what they're doing. Okay, so you know, we're there.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, Benson from Kenya.
Okay, glad to be in this meeting today. And I really appreciate all members around here within the meeting. And as I am Benson Nyaga Kagete, Secretary General of the National Community Ambassadors in Kenya, currently implementing the national government village administration policy. As Madam Valda has said, we have the proposal she will be sharing to you. And I am glad to tell you today that I received the red card puzzle sent to me by Frank Jackson, our chairman, World Conference of Mayor. He has sent me 50 red cards, and I'm happy also to have now his the tablet which he gave me also. And when now we are talking about now the women and the issue of the gender equality, I am really projecting to cluster to structure now our committee of the village committee into our structure, but adhering to the gender equality, because that is the committee which will be at the lowest level within each village. So I am really humbled, requesting now the framework and how we should execute it, as I'll be getting more information from Frank Jackson, and I really appreciate. And we are ready to structure now the program and have our gender equality really fulfilled in Africa, starting from Kenya, Dorome village. Thank you. Others, Chairman, you know more about it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So, folks, I'm going to take any other last questions. I don't see any hands raised.
I
And
want
so,
to thank Queen Mother. I want to respect her and honor her for her encouraging me and let her know that I appreciate her story and her experience that she's went through. And I apologize on behalf of this system that we're all subject to let her know that I appreciate her, honor her, and respect her for her wisdom and everything that she's done to get us all this far, because she truly suffered just because of those three things that she mentioned. And thank you so much, Queen Mother.
all right. With that being said, seeing no other participants, no other questions, I'm going to call the call. Thank you very much. Andrew, if you could send me a copy of the recording, I'd appreciate it. All right. Everyone, I want you all to have a good day. Bye-bye.
Have a great day.